All right, send it, baby. It's time to podcast.
All right, we are here. Happy New Year. It is 2025.
It's 2025. The first 16 hours of 2025 have been excellent. I was drunk. I saw the fireworks. I got a little sleep in. I went on a group bike ride. I met some very nice people, including a biologist and a couple of a couple of really waspy, nerdy types. I met a civil engineer.
As opposed to a criminal engineer.
Yeah, an uncivil engineer. No, we rode bikes a little bit. It was good.
That's lovely. I woke up in Colorado Springs in a basement of a suburban house that some friends and I had rented. And we had a lovely breakfast bake and then drove back up to Denver. But here we are. I just connected with Ben. UT just won the Peach Bowl.
Peach bowling. Peachy keen on the bowl. It feels good, man. Feels good.
Yep.
It's so Texas almost just choked it. We almost completely blew our whole season for no reason at all, and that would have been really us. And I'm glad we didn't, because we are now one of 4 teams vying for a national championship, and that feels good.
Yep. Yeah, you should feel good. And I mean, I feel like after the last decade of University of Texas football, this is a huge moment. It's been a long time coming.
I think so. This is the first year with the 12-team playoff, and we lost maybe like the 6th game of our season. And in the past, if you lose 1 or 2 games, your whole season can be over. And that dynamic, I feel like, has slightly shifted with the new expanded playoff format. I didn't really feel like our season was over when we lost to Georgia, right? So in some way, I feel like I was robbed of the suspense of like the whole thing, the whole BCS experience. And then, but now that we're here in the playoff, it's like, it's cool to get to see. It's like, if you really want a shot at the title, you have to go through like a number of quality teams. You got to play all the best teams in the country. And I think at the end of the day, we'll say, yes, this is better.
Yeah. Yep. I think so too. It makes sense. It also probably is a better generator of travel and, boosting revenue and economies of the teams that are in the playoff, because you get the best teams playing the best teams. So it's going to you get more of those types of games. So it's going to draw more people to travel and, fly in, rent a car, drive their car into a place that's vaguely similar to the urban core where they live, and then drive out when they're done.
Lucas.
I don't mean to be a bummer, but that's one thing that I think frustrates me. I love sports, and like what's wonderful about cities is that they're places that contain all of these things that draw all these different people in, and sports is one of those things. And wouldn't it be amazing if every stadium that you went to, every new city that you visited had a really unique flavor, as opposed to, everywhere being Cleveland, as Mark Twain had put it. It's just sad. Like, what's the difference between Dallas and Denver? I don't know.
I concur. Not to whitewash everybody, but you whites are up to no good.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But yeah, so we spent a couple days at this Airbnb in the southeastern quadrant of Colorado Springs. And I know I talk a lot of shit about Denver, but man, is it bleak. Man, is Colorado Springs just like the quintessence of bleak suburban sprawl. And there's this beautiful like mountain range that towers over the town, and then other than that, it is one of the bleakest places, at least in terms of urban fabric, walkability, um, seeing people outside, isolation. The feeling of isolation is so potent.
I don't know, man. A lot of people like isolation.
I mean, our Airbnb had a hot tub and it had TVs
That's
and
dope.
we made really good food and uh, drank and smoked and just had a good time. Celebrated the new year. Didn't party too hard. And it was nice to have a little isolation and, live. We were with, my wife and I were with two other couples and a seventh friend. And it was lovely to spend some time. But the locale was eerie.
Say it again.
Say what again?
My wife. Will you say that again? I've never heard you say that before. I've known Lucas for a long time.
I've said it literally on the podcast.
No, you haven't said my wife.
Yes, I have.
My wife.
You have to listen through all of the episodes that we've recorded. I've definitely referenced my wife.
Well, if you ever say that again, I'm gonna go, my wife.
Very nice.
Oh. No, sorry, that was just a little bit of pain escaping my body.
That's okay. But yeah, I mean, people do like isolation, but it is one of the things that is destroying the fabric of our society.
We're so lonely. Siri, why am I so lonely? I bet she gets asked that question every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Siri.
She still doesn't have a good answer.
Where did she go? Siri, I had a beautiful wife. Where is she?
You really were born to podcast. In that moment, you were infinite.
It's all about vibes. It's all about jazz. It's all about improv. So it's all about feels, man.
Yeah, I mean, we've disintegrated to a place where everything is just vibes all the way down. Images don't need to stand in as indexes for the truth. They just need to make someone feel some way.
I feel like you, the listener, you know us now. This has become a parasocial relationship.
Yeah, there's a lot of parasocial attachment. I'm sure that we're inspiring in our listeners out there.
The Goon Army. If
you will. I think, so this is one of the things that I had on my my agenda for today. I'm going to open.spotify.com. I think that because you've put foul language into the descriptions on Spotify, I think we've been like shadow banned a little bit. Like I searched for us through like the podcasts section and we can't be found. You can, if you search it specifically, you can find it, but otherwise it's difficult to identify unless you know the actual bus stuff. Yeah, if I search "Are you into bus stuff" in the Spotify search bar, it's not even the first podcast that comes up. Yeah. It's the second.
With time. We're not blacklisted. We just have bad SEO.
Behind Dire Trip. We should reach out to the folks who are making the Dire Trip podcast. It's some weird, creepy, strange, or spooky things, unsolved mysteries, true crime stories, and even weirder stuff. Hi there, my name is Kyle, and welcome to Dire Trip. We're really going to confuse the algorithm with this chunk of audio.
What is a podcast? Like, people, there's all these people starting podcasts, and none of them even have any idea. Like, we're just, what? We talk about the bus?
Yeah. I mean, it's like we're essentially, I mean, what we've been doing, I think, so far is essentially like a radio talk show, you know? Bobby Bones.
I want guests. I've been thinking about guests.
We should, I mean, that's where we need to go next, for sure.
Need
I think we've laid a good foundation for the listener and for the army out there to understand who we are, what our beat is, sort of what we're interested in, and understand kind of the tone, that we're tackling some of these things with. And I would love to bring some other people into the conversation.
I feel like our first guest should be somebody who just rides the bus. It's essential.
Mm-hmm. That'd be
I'm gonna go
great place to start.
find the poorest person on the street and be like, "Hey, man, get in here. I've got a podcast. I'll give you $30." That dude,
Nice.
Oh my god, that would be the best first podcast guest ever. It's like random hobo who's doing it for the quick, the quick buck.
Mm-hmm. He's kind of like listening to see what we want him to say.
So how do you feel about the bus?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with it.
Have you ever? Are you a part timer or a full timer? God.
Wow. One of Dire Trip's episode titles is "The Ultimate Incel Crimes Compilation."
Yeah,
No wonder no wonder it's coming up first. But we need to. I think that we can engineer the descriptions on Spotify to make our content more searchable and relevant.
Yeah. No, I mean most of the descriptions are just about gooning.
Yes. This is the point that I'm making, listener.
No, it's good. It's a big umbrella.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is that calling
people want to
listeners
have
the
a
Goon
good
Army
time. People want to have
is
fun.
not big umbrella.
People want to goon. It's in. Gooning is hot. It's in.
Oh, jeez.
I'm with it.
Yeah. I think the only other thing that I had on my list today was my wife and I went to go see Nosferatu.
And is that a new release?
It's a new movie in theaters. It's the Nosferatu film. It's, Dracula. But it's set in Germany, but it's London. Like all the people are British and it's London. Like let's be honest. It's Dickensian London or pre-Dickensian London. But I wanted to bring up, the state of our cities before the automobile and talk a little bit about the conditions that inspired the City Beautiful movement and radiant garden cities, as Jane Jacobs put it. Just the absolute filth and disgusting nature of our cities that were full of horses and oxen and shit like that. What's your take on pre-industrial urban life?
I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd have wanted to live there very much.
Right? That's why everyone had their city residence and their country residence. Their home on the moors.
Well, what do you want to... why don't we dive in? Or here, how about this? I gotta send you something.
All right. But yeah, I mean, it was the conditions in those cities that, inspired people like Ebenezer Howard to dream of garden cities, which were units of 30,000.
Install this Chrome extension.
I'm about to get scammed, listener.
No, I know. Yeah, I sent him a funny link that doesn't look like the Chrome link.
I see. Roadway report for Google Maps.
Yeah, install that baby.
Add extension.
And then when
This is a development.
yes, this is the future, baby. Roadway
I just want
report.
to point. I just want to point out that Ben entirely ignored what I had brought to discuss, and we're now looking at Roadway Report for Google Maps,
No,
which
no,
is
no. This is
obviously
this is
more
so
urgent and important. But I want to be clear.
no. This is so we when we look at the map, we can still jump between. Because I figure
Okay.
we're gonna talk about
So I've,
some specific urban fabric.
of course. So I've plugged it in.
So yeah, okay.
Um.
If you right click on Google Maps now, you can jump to
Okay.
Roadway Report.
View on Roadway Report. Oh, I see. So then it'll just take you. Nice. That's
And
a
then
good
if you
one.
right click on Roadway Report, you can jump to Google Maps.
Oh, nice.
So that's yeah. So it's I'm just trying to make it like a smooth.
Does the reverse function work regardless of whether you have the plugin when you're on
right,
Roadway Report?
right? Because
Yeah, okay.
I run that code, right? But in order
Exactly.
to edit Google Maps, I have to do the extension.
You have to hack the mainframe.
Oh, I'm a hack.
That's great. And share with Roadway Report.
Yeah, that's a typo. I just submitted that fix, so that should be live
no
in like a
worries.
day.
Okay. And yeah, I like the depth, the elevation that you've chosen. Much quicker, because I do find myself toggling back to the depth map and trying to find where I am.
Right,
It's really
right.
useful to just be able to say, what about this intersection?
Yeah, I think it will enable people to utilize the resource a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can use the vast capabilities of Google Maps' API. You can type anything in there; it'll tell you exactly what you're looking for. And, that's not true of my website. So let's talk about horses.
Yeah.
Big, strong, galloping horses.
I mean, sure. I mean, to get around quickly, you used to have some sort of animal to pull you.
It's crazy to think people used to get around 1 horsepower at a time.
Mm-hmm.
What is the horsepower of like a Toyota Camry?
I mean, like a modern one, probably 150, 200. 2025 Toyota Camry horsepower. We own a 1999 Camry V6 LE.
That sounds juiced.
It's a great car. 184 horsepower in the 2025 Toyota Camry. So this comes back to something that we discussed a little bit last week, just about mass and the amount of mass that one person either possesses or represents or carries around with them. You used to need, maybe 1 to 6 horses, right? I don't know how many horses people use for different contraptions, but I can't imagine any urban way of getting around would require more than like 6 horses, right? That would be insane. I might be wrong. Listeners, please let us know. But now with your Toyota Camry, you have the equivalent of 184 horses. That's too
of raw power.
of just power. Yeah, the power of the horse.
No, it's true though. But every jackass, every idiot you've ever met has 100 horses, just gallivanting along through our dense urban corridors.
Mm-hmm. The 2025 Toyota Tundra, which I see many of in Denver, has a 358 to 389 horsepower, depending on the model that you choose. So those folks have 350 horses of power
Per person.
per person, with none of the grace of the horse, none of the charm or the beauty, just the power.
It's such a deeply flawed and antisocial system.
Yeah.
It has such a high failure rate. Like, there are accidents every day on some streets.
Yeah.
Someone dies every day on I-35.
It's true.
I mean,
It's
I can't.
true.
I mean, not
Yeah.
every day, but good God.
Yeah, it averages out to be just about every day. And it's a new problem in the context of, the thousands of years of urban development that came before the creation of the automobile. And cities definitely weren't perfect, but you could like walk around them, and as long as you were paying attention, you were pretty sure not to get obliterated by a machine.
It's true. I mean, I don't know. S- People did get hit by wagons. But
And trains. I mean,
it was a little rare. It was definitely rarer. Like,
mhm.
probably 2 orders of magnitude rarer. Something in that neighborhood. 1 to 2 orders of magnitude, but it did happen.
it wasn't hundreds of people
Right. It wasn't like
every
hundreds of
month.
people in
Like,
every city every year.
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bro, traffic violence is so so brutal. It's like uh, if you were alive for most of the 20th century, you had like a 2% chance of dying in some kind of car accident. And that I'm sure was much higher for marginalized groups. Um,
Hmm. And much higher the later you were born in
and
the 20th
and then like
century.
outside of those fatalities, it's like, okay, well, if those are the numbers on actually perishing in some kind of car related death, it's like we know that for every one of those there's like 3.5 ish serious injuries and another 5 minor injuries. So like, even just getting, breaking an arm in a car crash is traumatizing, right? So it's like
Hmm.
a whole generation of people who have known the effects of traffic related violence. Our friend's sister was a nun. She was killed by a drunk driver.
Damn.
Yeah, a nun. Come
Yeah, I mean, what are
on.
the odds of getting hit by a car as any person is so high that even nuns are in danger, even though the statistics on like whether someone is a nun or not pulled randomly out of the population, very, very slim in the United States right now compared to history, right? Back in the day, like if you had just so many kids, like you'd give one to God. That's what they said.
Right, and it's like the indiscriminate nature of the violence. It makes it what until 4 years ago, the leading cause of death in children and adolescents.
Mm.
Like, the leading cause of death in children and adolescents is cars. It's no longer cars, it's now guns,
Mm-hmm.
but, the whole school. You know, right? It's like now it's
Well,
like a sport to shoot kids with guns, and then there are communities that are having like huge epidemics of gun violence,
mm-hmm.
and that's the only reason that it's no longer the leading cause of.
Well, I think this for me pulls up a really important fulcrum of this conversation. And it is around the word violence, which you've summoned. And it is violence because people are dying. People in our communities are dying. People in our communities are getting hurt. It is violence. But I think it's been framed to us so many times because we've been propagandized to believe that the only natural way to live a life is with a car. It's been normalized and written off as a cost of doing business, as it were. Whereas an act of gun violence, murder, is an active and full of intent action. And I think that we've lost touch with the fact that choosing to build our cities and use our cities in such a way that only those driving are safe, and even they are not safe. Um, I'm missing the mark here as I try to come to a point, but you know what I'm saying about violence and like whether there's intent or not? Because most people would say, "Oh no, that's not traffic violence. Those are car accidents."
Yeah, no, I mean, this is an important query. Um, yes and no. I mean, you ride a bike enough and you understand that there is a lot of actual intentional violence that will eventually be directed towards you from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you like harassment is unavoidable. Um, people will draw people, and more times than you can count, someone will drive their car at you,
Mm-hmm.
um, right, on purpose, to intimidate you, to all sorts of shit, right?
Yeah, but that
Um,
that isn't the leading cause of traffic
right,
related deaths.
right. And it's like I would attribute most traffic-related deaths to like faulty design, right? Just too many lanes, the road being too wide, shitty crosswalks, lack of functional alternative infrastructure.
Shitty sidewalks, shitty crosswalks.
But no, but the more I think about it, the more I sit with it and like look at all the data of how how certain people have perished on our roadways, the more I think that the number that could be on purpose could be approaching like 10% or more. Or like you'd like to think it's 1 in 200 or but it could be a ton, man.
The
there's
argument would
there's
still
500 road rage deaths, like murders, for every 40,000 um, roadway deaths. So
hmm.
it's just think of those ballpark figures to.
It's definitely too many, but I think I would continue to raise that the majority of gun related deaths are intentional personal violence.
Yes. Yes.
And the majority of roadway deaths are accidental misuses of technology.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, that's a very good way to put it.
And because of that, people feel exempt. I think there's that statistic where like 70% of people rank them as a 50th percentile or better driver, which obviously cannot be true. And so people feel exempt. They don't feel as if they are putting other people in danger when they use their car. That's one of the I think key pieces of information that we have to get through to people is, yes, I understand that you may need your car for some trips and you may need your car. We have to accept that there are reasons to use your car. But I think if people can understand that every single time they get in their car, they are causing violence, there could be a revolution of thought that would help us undo some of these things. And I do think that has to happen in tandem with changes in infrastructure and legislation.
It's just so damn convenient. And also, I mean, I don't even think people have any sort of aversion to walking, transit, cycling. It's just that there's been a complete intentional disinvestment in this type of infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like in a perfect world, there would just be a functional roadway network alongside a functional cycle network and sidewalk network and transit network, and then it wouldn't be violent to skip down to the store with grandma in a wheelchair in a big old
Mm-hmm.
minivan, right? But it's just the way the present urban environment places us in conflict is where people's the it's true, the automobile becomes a manifestation of like machismo and violence
Mm-hmm.
so quickly. so quickly. Um, you drivers with your tiny little dicks.
I mean, I think we've all. I mean, we've everyone. I know you've driven a car a fair bit, and we grew up together in the Ass Pounder.
That was the best car ever, man.
1989, 91?
91 Corolla.
Nine, 91 Corolla. Great, great, great car. We grew up in that car in a lot of ways. And, we've all experienced that moment of like annoyance or whatever's going on in your day. And you just put the pedal to the metal. You go a little bit faster than you
Yeah,
normally
yeah.
would. Like that is using many horses. Your foot is telling many horses to charge.
Right.
And there is violence and power in that.
I was talking to we should get that guy on. The dude from Detroit, who's a product designer for I think GM or Ford or something. But he was saying, fuck, what was he saying? What were you just saying?
I was saying we've all experienced that moment where, you're a little bit annoyed.
Acceleration. The new those new fucking electric motors are torqued the fuck out. And those cars are heavy as fuck. And
they're very, very heavy.
That is almost certainly going to contribute to a higher rate of pedestrian fatalities. Just because acceleration is a key contributor as well as mass, right?
And
form.
Stopping distance.
But that Ford
is
Bronco,
informed by mass.
Have you seen that Ford Bronco? The one that when you actually floor it, the front wheels come up off the ground, and it adds like 3 feet of height to the front of the vehicle, and it weighs like 9,000 pounds, and it goes 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds. It's the scariest thing in the world.
If I was gonna hit someone with a car, it would be that one. I'd want to do it with that one.
It's like it's every cyclist's nightmare.
Oh man.
Oh Jesus. Talk to me about your horse.
So, I got this horse. It pulls my little 2-person carriage through the city, and the city smells really bad, and there's coal burning everywhere. And I'd like to live somewhere where I can breathe a little better. Right?
Yeah.
And now we've circled all the way back. Like, that's what Ebenezer Howard and, I mean, even Robert Moses, Le Corbusier, like all of these people that invented the ideas that became our skyscraper plus suburb cities. Like one district of skyscrapers and basically gut the rest of the pre-car urban fabric, build suburbs everywhere so that people can drive in, racially covenant those suburbs. So only certain kinds of people can live there. These ideas that formed our 20th century cities, they were responding to the desperation and the disgusting status of, turn of the century cities. And they were trying to design something better, but we have circled all the way back because of the automobile's immense dominance. We've circled all the way back to cities where it's hard to breathe, it's unsafe to walk around, it smells, it is, to use your phrase, a punishment to be outside. It was a punishment to be outside in 1895 London as well, for a very different reason.
But
and somehow
that reason
we've engineered
was industry?
Our way. And horses.
Sanitation, horses.
Sanitation, yeah. I mean, beasts and lack of indoor plumbing.
Yeah, man, where did poop used to go?
In
the poop cart.
In the street, like, it just rolled down the street.
Bro, Paris used to suck. Think about how different Paris would be if it was full of poop. Yeah, everywhere you go, croissant, no poop.
And I hope someone can chime in and challenge my assertions about history here. But, I'm making some generalities to support my point about the people who brought us urban renewal and freeway expansion.
They were just trying to, man, they were trying to make money, honestly.
Yeah. Well, and I think that they genuinely were. I mean, especially people who were designers and architects. Like, I think people were genuinely interested in trying to create a safer, more sanitary, more pleasant place for people to live. Of course, there was like caste and racism baked into these people's ideologies, and so who those better worlds were being built for, I think actually ended up working out. Like, they got that part of it, but what they didn't account for was the vast number of people that would be oppressed by creating these types of environments.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they did, in some sense, account for it.
Yeah. I mean, the actual execution of these ideas over time have led us where we are, of course. People actually had to do things.
Oh my God.
2025.
2025, the year our independent media snake network goes live.
Snake
Yeah,
network?
it's our little web, our little spider spinning our web. Information systems. We can't be silenced. The government can't stop me.
Snakes and spiders, snakes and spiders.
What's Alex Jones's catchphrase?
Does he have a catchphrase? You're from Austin.
It's a war. It's an information war.
Yeah. I mean, the quintessential for me is, it's turning the frickin' frogs gay.
He was right about that.
Yeah, it turns out. I mean, frogs? Come on.
In like 2013, I'm in line at Esther's Follies to see a panel for South by Southwest. I'm chatting up the guy behind me. Says he's with NPR. And he's like, yeah, man, Alex Jones did some really good journalism back in the day. And I just never forget that brief conversation.
Back in the day. The golden days of Alex Jones. Everyone's got to start somewhere.
Are we a conspiracy theory podcast?
I'm certainly steeped in reporting and speculation about conspiracy theory. It's definitely one of my favorite things to consider. I think it's something that's incredibly crucial to pay attention to, given our political and social situation. So yeah, I would throw us in the conspiracy circle.
I mean, I would argue our whole way of life is one collective corporate conspiracy. Like everything we wear, everything we do, our whole lived experience is just one giant marketing event.
We've grown up in a period where one of the core modus operandi of the powers that be is that people can be socially engineered to behave certain ways. This is like a core tenet of liberalism, right? Because we can't have liberalism if everyone is an animal. So people must be successfully assimilated into a culture in order for liberalism to function, because liberalism stands for, this like inherent goodness, right, that we all have. Like, that's what makes it okay for liberalism to get away with everything that it gets away with, is because it's, our kids are going to have a better life than we did. And there is something socially engineered that we believe makes our culture righteous. That has replaced a commitment to religion that our ancestors not so long ago had. That was conspiracy for sure. What I just said,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
felt
No, that
like
was good shit.
conspiracy.
That was really good shit. No, that was a Joe Rogan moment. Yeah.
No, I mean,
Wow.
I think that what we try to do, I think that what a lot of media is trying to bridge the gap between these things that we can feel are true and that we observe are true, and being able to express why those things are true. Like, that is media. Um, and so I think that anyone trying to do that in earnest, in our case, it's connecting the dissonance that we have in our own culture and our own world with the building blocks of our urban environments, because they are, inseparable.
Austin's really nice. I'm not gonna lie. All these little houses, all these cute little houses. I can totally see why people love this shit.
It's a great place to live.
Well, I
It's really
mean,
nice.
but like, why people like zoning, or people were like and continue to be very hot on it, um, on economic exclusivity. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
those neighborhoods are really pretty. They're quiet. Uh, there's no urban poverty everywhere. To ruin your stroll. Uh,
Well, because the distribution of goods has been made so complete.
it's so easy to get a cheeseburger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do we need in life? Not much more than that.
Cheeseburger, like 5 minutes away. Definitely.
I'm gonna go get a cheeseburger after this podcast.
That sounds good. That sounds good. We ate very well this weekend. One of our friends did a hot pot meal that was so good. Bok choy and sirloin and glass noodles. Absolutely lovely.
These are my Asian friends, sirloin and bok choy.
Yikes. Uh, that one's rough.
This is not a racist podcast. I repeat, this is not a racist podcast. We are friends to all cultures, all peoples, all he's, all hims, all theys, all thems. Big tent, big tent. We all are in the Goon army.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. I'm bullish on Latinos.
I mean, that's always a good position to
I
take.
mean, I work in a restaurant, so it's hard not to be.
Claro que sí.
They work harder than us.
Yeah. No, I mean it's someone that I respect a lot who is from Mexico that I worked with for a while at like a big cultural institution. She was interviewed once, and like all of the questions on the interview were like, what is the most uplifting thing that you could say to a Latinx person who wants to pursue a career in the sciences? And then like the follow-up question was, what makes Latinx people special? And one of the questions she finally, like, it was a ton of questions that were essentially the same thing, and then she finally responded like, the main thing that I really take away from all of these questions is that you're surprised that I hold this position of status at the institution that I hold, and you need to pay more respect to the people who clean your houses and launder your clothes and cook your food throughout this country, because those are my people. And it was a good mic drop moment. And I thought it was a nice way to show some class solidarity across a racial identity.
I had a racial identity Italian mic drop moment at Christmas. No, God, every year Christmas is getting more and more racist in my house. it's it's so bad. It's so
Really?
bad.
Who is
My uncle
the
and cousin are
your big
dropping
uncle, the big one?
are dropping hard R's at the
No,
Christmas dinner table.
bro.
It's no bueno.
Like in
No bueno.
like in a joking
Yeah.
context, or
And like, yeah,
yeah,
it's a
not okay.
so the Italians are honestly the people we should be most racist against. Because they are, oh my god.
True. It's true.
Oh. Anyway, go home, bully Italian people.
Don't do that.
This is an incitement to violence.
Oh my
This
god.
is not protected speech under the First Amendment of the Constitution. This is an incitement to violence. You have to go after the Italians. Show them what time it is. Club Denny Caps. You guys should see the look on Lucas's face right now.
Yeah, for the record, I'm shaking my head. It's an ugly grimace. I have an ugly grimace on my face. I disapprove of this use of unsanctioned speech. I just wanted to talk about horses. I brought a thoughtful query about pre-industrial or mid-industrialization cities, and here we are talking about Ben's vehemence towards the Italians.
I am Italian.
Yeah, I mean that's what you gotta know, listener. I think that if someone were to,
I have no idea how much of this podcast I'm gonna publish.
Yeah. This one's gonna take you a little longer to edit.
No, I mean I should be. Listener, allow me to apologize for the indiscretions permitted earlier in this podcast. We don't condone violence of any kind towards any communities of the lower racial classes or otherwise.
God. Oh.
Specifically Italian people.
There's nothing funny about roadway deaths.
There's nothing funny about roadway deaths. We'll have to do like a bit next week on that.
Mm-hmm.
Or is this our smooth transition? Do we pick a roadway death?
Yeah. We could
Here,
do that.
why don't we find one on Google Maps? Now that we have our handy Chrome extension.
I'm gonna find a roadway death on the theme of Italians. I'm gonna go to Boston's North End.
Okay, I'll go to Jersey, where they shot the Sopranos.
Which is, super. I'm sure that the North End has become somewhat gentrified.
Harrison.
I really don't know any of the contemporary history, but I know it is an old Italian, or in the last 100 years has been an Italian neighborhood. So I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna look around. I highly encourage you to take a look at the urban fabric in Boston's North End.
Yeah?
Yeah, drop a pin. Drop the guy at the corner of Salem and I don't know, Prince, Salem and Prince. Yeah. Oh yeah. Streets so narrow you could never die, right? Let's see.
Who died?
Let's see if there are any. Share with Roadway Report, which means open in Roadway Report.
Right.
There have been some roadway deaths in the neighborhood, about 2 in the last 20 years. One of them was on Thursday, July 30th, 2008. Can you describe the urban fabric that you're seeing on the street view there?
Yeah, no, I mean it looks like Europe. It's like, big tall guy, buildings. It looks like it looks more like Europe than America. The streets are like 10 feet wide. Uh,
Hmm. And the buildings are all 4 stories.
yeah, the buildings look like the Lower East Side. Um, yeah, everything's about 4 stories tall.
Ooh,
One lane apart.
not a hit and run.
We love.
Someone in a 2001 Ford, which was a large van, um, hit a person. Wait, let's see. No apparent injury. Vehicles in transport. Accident deaths. Ooh, so there were 2 people in a motor vehicle. There was 1 vehicle. There were 2 people in parked vehicles, and there was 1 non-motorist. The first harmful event was not a collision with a motor vehicle in transport.
That's usually a pedestrian or something.
And the person in the vehicle, a 78-year-old woman, was a person on a personal conveyance. So she was probably in like a motorized wheelchair. In 2001?
Or a scooter. Oh, 2001. Yeah, probably a motorized wheelchair. Will you send me the? Or
Yeah.
Which one is it? What's the intersection?
It's the one on Michelangelo Street. It's right off Salem. It's at the end of that little cul-de-sac. If you go to the corner of Salem and Hull, I can also send it to
I
you.
got it.
Okay.
2000
Walking, riding,
1?
person. Is that what it was? Am I misspeaking?
8?
It was 2008. 2008. Person-related factor was a walking/riding with or against traffic. Playing, working, sitting, lying, standing, etc. in the roadway. This was a 78-year-old woman on a personal conveyance who was hit by a van.
Yeah, sounds like a person in an electric wheelchair who was murdered by a van.
Mm-hmm.
That's horrible. There's no
Yeah.
there's no note that declares any kind of like extraordinary fault on behalf of the lady in the wheelchair. It doesn't say she was drunk or she jumped out into the street or failed to yield or anything. It just says that she was killed by a van.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't say like, oh, anyone went to jail for killing this person with a van, right? It's just okay.
A 33-year-old male drove over a 78-year-old woman in a van, was not injured, not even tested for alcohol. Oh, they weren't ejected. That's nice.
Okay, well, I got a banger of a roadway death. 55-year-old Vietnamese man hit by car
Where's this?
in Harrison, New Jersey, where they shot The Sopranos. Here.
Nice.
I'm sending it to you here.
In the chat.
So if you click on the one in the middle of the screen,
Mm-hmm. Harrison Avenue,
yeah.
Wednesday, August 10th, 2011.
You got it. So yeah, this is this guy got clocked by a Hyundai sedan. Driver did not maneuver to avoid.
Non-motorist contributing circumstance, dart out.
Oh, dart out. Well, you know what dart out is. Dart out
yeah.
is when you dart out into the roadway. It's another way to say like it's your fault.
It's another way of saying you were trying to cross the road.
Right, right, usually, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's look at the road, shall we?
Let's shall. Ooh, now I can do the reverse. Open in Google Maps. I love it. Folks, roadway.report.
Yeah, I mean this is not the craziest street in the world. Someone must have really been booking it. I mean, it is wider than it needs to be. It's a hell of a lot wider than Boston's streets.
At least in the North End. Yeah. Ooh, I want to go to La Pizza.
Oh, here, look. So if you go up one block north to Cleveland Avenue, and it's there's no deaths on this road, so I'm willing to bet that it's functionally a lot thinner. It looks like it's got some traffic calming from the parking.
Cleveland Avenue. Yeah.
This is where they shot The Sopranos.
Mm-hmm.
I love these row homes.
Yeah, they're lovely.
Good God. Good God. Good God. Jerry!
I found on the Street View, there's a person with a cart who looks like they're walking to the grocery store, and they got their bags on their cart, and they're walking out in front of a Dodge Ram that's trying to get out of his parking space in front of his row house.
Forever in conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Man and car. Yeah. My God.
Well, listeners, remember to follow and
Yeah.
subscribe and, send us money so that we can keep giving you these hot takes.
Yeah, these incredible podcasts. Just send me an email, and I'll send you my Venmo. And we can make something happen. If you need to get in touch with me, you can Ben at roadway.report. I'm free. I'm a bum. So
There you go. You can follow me on Instagram, Threads, or Patreon at Blurbinist. Urbanist with a BL up front. Blurbinist. We write thought pieces. I have a thought piece on the Patreon. It's available for free, but would love the subscription to help grow the page. Specifically about some of the conditions in late 19th century cities that led to some of the ideas that have become our cities. So take a look at that. Let me know what you think. And, don't associate my name or image with the words or sounds that you hear from my colleague on
I want you to
other
edit
end here.
every racist thing I said and all the times there's a goon army, and then I want you to post it publicly on the internet with the words Lucas Riley under it, so that whenever it's indexed by Google, it's the first thing that comes up. I want Luke. I want Lucas to be thrown the king of the goon army. And don't forget to goon. I'm still not even sure what it is.
Well, then, I guess in that case, I'll accept your coronation, even though I really shouldn't. But
You doing anything for this week, this year? You have anything big in the works?
I am navigating, career transition, working back in sales again to pay the bills, provide a little bit more stability. We definitely are not going to be in Denver forever, so really sort of plotting the course away. So appreciate any input on where you think we should go. But yeah, really just trying to get this chapter started in earnest. I'm gonna, be putting a lot of work in, just try to put myself in a good position, so that we can move, because that's an expensive uh, venture. Save up some money, try to roll with the punches with whatever we can expect politically. I think it's going to be a bit of a rocky road in certain places. Who knows what's going to happen? Yeah, taking care of my loved ones, walking, biking, selling windows. How about you, Ben?
This is the year we organize. We organize bike rides. Uh, we just organize against Car World. I'm tired of it. I want to win. I'll settle for nothing less than no more cars everywhere.
We'll hold hands and make a barrier across the strode.
Yeah, I'm gonna give every cyclist a gun. As president,
That works.
every pedestrian gets a gun. We're gonna fire all the crossing guards, and just give everyone a glizzy. I love dystopia. I mean, and that's a privilege, right? To just like have a good time as the whole world burns.
Yeah, there's a lot of dissonance in that, but we all have to do what we can. I think that every person deserves, their dignity, and they deserve joy.
Just like you, listener, with
Indeed.
this erotically charged comedy podcast about cities and transportation.
That's a pretty good description of what we're doing here, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to make myself some food and sit down with my wife and enjoy this last evening before I have to go back to work. But I love you, man. Take care out there. Look both ways as you cross the street. That's all I got.
I love you too, man. Thanks for podding.
Pod.
No, bye. Yeah. I'll talk to you on Monday, okay? Back to the Rego schedule.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. That should be good. But yeah, ta-ta for now.
All right. Happy New Year, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.